the leaders of Canada's Conservative Party and of the leftist New Democratic Party NDP issued remarks in rare agreement on Tuesday condemning Liberal Prime Minister Justin Trudeau for not taking American President-elect Donald Trump's threat of imposing a 25% tariff on Canadian goods seriously. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre lamented in remarks to the press on Tuesday that Canada would approach any negotiation with Trump on the economy in a position of unprecedented weakness due to Trudeau's long-standing leftist policies, demanding the Prime Minister come up with an actionable plan to prevent Trump from imposing onerous tariffs. NDP Leader Jagmeet Singh encouraged Trudeau to fight like hell for Canadian workers, accusing him of hiding his head in the sand. At Trump's remarks, Singh has not offered a detailed response to exactly how Trudeau should fight Trump at press time. The president-elect alarmed leaders in both Canada and Mexico on Tuesday by announcing that he would, on his first day in office, impose a 25% tariff on goods imported from both countries and lift the tariff only when Ottawa and Mexico City address mass migration and drug trafficking. On January 20th, as one of my many first executive orders, I will sign all necessary documents to charge Mexico and Canada a 25% tariff on all products coming into the United States and its ridiculous open borders, Trump wrote on his social media outlet Truth Social. This tariff will remain in effect until such time as drugs, in particular fentanyl, and all illegal aliens stop this invasion of our country. Both Mexico and Canada have the absolute right and power to easily solve this long-simmering problem. We hereby demand that they use this power, and until such time that they do, it is time for them to pay a very big price, he concluded. Leftist Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum held a press conference responding to the message on Tuesday in which she showed reporters a letter she sent President-elect Trump. In it, Sheinbaum threatened to impose retaliatory tariffs and accused America of being the source of the migration and fentanyl problems. Trudeau, in contrast, said on Tuesday that he had a good call with Trump and that he felt they could discuss some of the challenges that we can work on together. Trudeau's apparently conciliatory tone irritated both Canadian conservatives and leftists. President Trump yesterday made an unjustified threat of a 25% tariff on our already weak and shrinking economy, Poilievre, the conservative leader, said on Tuesday. Justin Trudeau and Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland were surprised. Amazingly, everyone else knew something like this could be coming because President Trump had been talking about it for years on the campaign trail.
On the economy, I'm calling on Prime Minister Trudeau to put partisanship aside and in the spirit of Team Canada to accept that he cannot go ahead with quadrupling the carbon tax to 61 cents a litre. This was an irresponsible policy to begin with, but combining this kind of crippling energy tax increase with potential tariffs from Donald Trump would push our economy into a nightmare and a tailspin. So let's put partisanship aside and axe the tax. Second, the Prime Minister has to put aside partisanship and, in the spirit of Team Canada, cancel his energy cap, which would see Alberta and Saskatchewan produce 35% less energy at a time when we need those jobs. It is our biggest industry and our biggest export. The incoming American president says he wants to cut gas prices in half. Well, the only way to do it will be to import more clean Canadian energy, so the Prime Minister has to stop this assault on our biggest industry. Next, he has to cancel all tax increases on work, investment, and making stuff in Canada. Finally, he needs to renew and restart the commitment to end the softwood lumber tariffs and the Buy America policies, just like Stephen Harper was successful in doing, even though Justin Trudeau has not been able to do that under 3 presidents and 9 years. On security, about a week ago, Justin Trudeau admitted that he broke our immigration system, and that brings new challenges. His own published documents show there are 4.9 million people here temporarily that are supposed to leave by December 31st of next year, 13 months from now. 4.9 million people. We asked what the plan was to track their departures, and yesterday his immigration minister said, we're just going to take people at their word. He admits that there have been 2 ISIS terrorists allowed into our country? What is the plan to protect our security and reinstate sovereignty over who is in our country? Military. Justin Trudeau has demolished our military with poor decisions, botched procurements, and wasted money. One thing he could do today is announce that his planned billion-dollar cut to the military is cancelled, and then present a real plan to reallocate money away from lower priorities towards rebuilding our military and reinforcing our military security over North America. And finally, on drugs. I don't want to stop drug overdoses to please Donald Trump. I want to stop drug overdoses so that there's not one more mother with her face buried in a pillow sobbing that she just lost her kid after 47,000 other Canadians have died. That's more than we lost in the Second World War. A 200% annual increase in drug overdose deaths have resulted from Justin Trudeau's radical liberalization of drugs. Justin Trudeau must put partisanship aside, not just for the sake of Team Canada, but for the sake of our people, and fully reverse his liberalization of drugs. Ban them, prosecute those who traffic in them, secure our borders against the illegal importation of fentanyl ingredients, put people in treatment and recovery to bring our loved ones home drug-free. That is necessary now more than ever. Look, President Trump has the right to put his workers and his nation's security first. I will put Canada's workers and Canada's security first. We need a Prime Minister with the strength and the smarts, the brains and the backbone to stand up for this country, to rebuild our security, our military, and our economy. That is what I will do. Let's bring it home.
Should Canada have less reliance on American trade, in your view?
That's a nice idea. It's a very nice idea. We live next door to the biggest economic and military superpower in the history of the world. We can fantasize about other trade partners, but I'm interested in reality. We've been fantasizing for the last 9 years, and look where it has got us. What we actually need to do is stand up for our economy by axing taxes, unleashing free enterprise, having a massive boom in our energy and resource production, and standing up for our country against unfair tariffs abroad.
Aside from all the measures that we laid out, would you be willing to retaliate?
If necessary. Si nécessaire.
You're asking the Prime Minister to put aside his partisanship. Will you put aside yours and join the government in a Team Canada approach?
I'm making nonpartisan suggestions today. But let me be clear. What we don't need is a spectacle of a bunch of politicians sitting around tables, meeting, and holding photo ops. I know that would be a wonderful spectacle for all of you. You would all enjoy that kind of interpersonal theatrics. But what we really need is an action plan with tangibles. So, bottom line, Trudeau's got to axe the carbon tax. He's got to lift the production cap on Canadian energy. He's got to rebuild our military and secure our borders. That is a real plan to protect our economy and our security and put Canada first, and that's more important than photo ops and meetings between politicians.
What do you think about the idea of Canada striking a separate bilateral agreement with the U.S., separate from Mexico? Do you endorse that idea?
Canada first. Let's put it this way. One, I only care about Canada. I want to put our country first. Two, America is responsible for over 60% of our trade. We trade more with the U.S. than we do with the rest of the world combined. I will do what is necessary to preserve and protect that relationship above all others.
$250 checks. Has your party decided if you support them? And can you also respond to the demands from the Bloc and NDP to expand it even further?
So, first of all, we will make our final decision and formalize it tomorrow at our caucus meeting, as always. with our GDP collapsing, with $500 billion pouring out of our country, and with Canadians lined up at food banks, our priority is not to save you 10 cents on a bag of potato chips right before quadrupling the carbon tax on your heat, housing, gas, and groceries. What we need is a real common sense plan to slash bureaucracy and waste in order to bring down taxes, inflation, and interest rates. And we will answer. We also know that on the checks, Justin Trudeau has said, when he was asked about checks not long ago, he said, if you give out checks, you drive up inflation by exactly the same amount. If you have an economy with 10 apples and $10, it's $1 an apple. If you double the number of dollars in the economy to 20 and you still only have 10 apples, well, now it's $2 an apple. You're not actually increasing purchasing power by printing money, borrowing cash, and sending out checks. What that has done after 9 years of Trudeau has given us the worst inflation in 40 years, the worst housing price inflation in the G7. We have people living in poverty. They can't find homes. We need a real common sense plan to permanently axe the carbon tax, axe the sales tax on new homes so that Canadians can earn a powerful paycheck that buys affordable food, gas, and homes in safe neighborhoods. Nous avons besoin d'un vrai plan pour couper les taxes et impôts et permettre les gens de gagner des plus grands chèques de paie et pensions qui achètent de nourriture et de logements dans les communautés
Poilievre
sécuritaires.
suggested that, to address Trump's comments, Canada must be honest with our unprecedented weakness after years of Trudeau's policies. The United States is the greatest economic and military superpower in the world, and they are our neighbor. The U.S. is responsible for $1.02 trillion of our trade. He observed, we trade almost twice as much with the Americans as we do with the rest of the world combined. We need a plan, Poilievre continued, a plan to put Canada first on the economy and on security. Poilievre's plan began with calling for Trudeau to cancel all tax increases, cut a proposed quadrupling of Canada's carbon tax, and otherwise reinforce the Canadian economy by keeping money in Canadians' pockets. He also called for policies to curb the fentanyl trade and other illicit drugs by undoing Trudeau's established soft-on-drugs policy and aggressively curbing drug trafficking, which would address one of the problems Trump cited as the impetus for tariffs on Canada. Poilievre said he would support tariffs on American products if necessary. NDP Leader Jagmeet Singh appeared similarly disappointed in Trudeau, but approached the problem from a different angle. Trump is a bully, he asserted, and Trudeau's lack of assertiveness was dangerous to Canada. Justin Trudeau, you cannot keep your head in the sand, Singh wrote on social media. Stand up and fight like hell. In Parliament, Singh proclaimed, the only thing a bully responds to is strength, asking, where is our plan to fight back? Why is the Prime Minister not fighting like hell for Canadian jobs? Like Poilievre, Singh indicated he would support tariffs on America if necessary to respond to Trump's policies. Trudeau reportedly responded by saying that Singh was panicking and suggesting Singh wanted him to go to war with the United States. In Quebec, where Trudeau's Liberals lost a previously safe seat in September, a political catastrophe for the party, Premier François Legault pressured Trudeau to do everything possible to stop Trump from imposing the proposed tariffs. More than ever, Justin Trudeau must have a plan to protect the border, Legault asserted. Legault also, unlike the national-level leaders, appeared to defend Trump by calling his border concerns legitimate.
Provincial or territorial law. It's what responsible leadership requires. These measures must be and will be compliant with the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. We will always defend the rights of Canadians to peaceful assembly and to freedom of expression, but these blockades need to end, and unfortunately, Conservative politicians continue to encourage the leaders of these blockades.
That's right.
Well, Leader of the Opposition.
Well, let's get down to the basics of what this is really about. This is about the Prime Minister's ideological attachment to keeping COVID restrictions and mandates. 63% of Canadians want the restrictions and mandates to end. Conservatives presented a motion yesterday asking simply for a plan, but the Prime Minister is in denial and is ignoring the science. He might as well be back at the cottage because he's doing nothing productive or constructive to help this situation. Can the Prime Minister tell Canadians when he will end the divisive, outdated and unscientific mandate and restrictions.
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, like I said, this is a time for responsible leadership to end these blockades. Unfortunately, the Conservatives continue to play partisan games. The Conservative member of Provencher just yesterday...
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to cut off the Prime Minister just for a second. And just... I mean, heckling is usually throwing one comment out. Clever, hopefully, although not always necessary. But what I'm hearing is someone bullying and trying to drown someone out. That's not heckling. I just want everyone to take a deep breath, and I'll let the Prime Minister start from the top, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Unfortunately, we see that even in a moment of extremely challenging times, when people are moving forward with responsible leadership and responsible tools, the Conservatives can't help themselves but play crass political games and divide. The Conservative member for Provencher just yesterday embraced the leaders of this blockade and amplified their cause. The Conservative member for Yorkton Melville said this weekend that blockaders who ripped down fencing around our national war memorial are patriots. The Conservative leadership contender from Carleton continues to say he's proud.
L'honorable député de Louis. The honourable member for Louis Saint Laurent. Mr. Speaker, for 17 days, the Prime Minister didn't lift a finger over what was happening in Ottawa. Instead, he insulted people who didn't share his opinion. As a result, yesterday, the Prime Minister pulled out an act that hasn't been used for half a century. He didn't consult the premiers. He just informed them. But more than half of them are against this. And the Prime Minister is simply pouring oil on the fire. Why does the Prime Minister always try to cover up his inaction in this way?